Good afternoon, everybody. It's Saturday today. Saturday today. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna make a bucket automatic watering system. I'm not sure if that's really what it is, but anyways, for your rabbits watering system. For those that have the little rabbit hoses, right? And water nipples. So we'll start off with a bucket from Tractor Supply, and we get them at Tractor Supply because they gave us food grade buckets, right? So I've always used food grade buckets. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this inside of it. We have the hose for it, the connector, and this thing is called the bulkhead. This is a half-inch bulkhead. That's half-inch on the inside, right? It looks like this. It's two pieces of plastic with a large plastic nut, and inside there's threads. And the threads is so you could put this, because oops, sorry, lost it. The way I like to do this on my setup is I like to use a half-inch PVC. Yeah, so mine's for half-inch PVC, and I'll show you why. So to start off with is this piece right here. You'll need 1 1/8 inch. We use paddle bits or hose saws, but 1 1/8 inch hose saw or a paddle bit, and the other one is going to be 1 inch. For the bulkhead will be a 1 inch paddle bit or a 1 inch hose saw. I recommend that when you're going to drill your holes, try it on another piece, on an old bucket or a piece of plastic, so you don't mess up your bucket on the first try. So you make sure that you know, you got the right speed. But this is all we had available. These were Mari's. She bought a set here a couple months back, maybe about a year for work. So I borrowed these from her. I have to put them back in the job box. So a 1 inch and a 1 1/8. Let me see. I don't think we can. There you go. 1 1/8 for the water fill for the toilet, and 1 inch for the bulkhead. All right. So, all right, we got this right here. So we're gonna convert this bucket into an auto fill. So I've done this several times already. This is not my first time. The bucket lasts a long time. You'll need a lid. The way I like to put the lid is I seal it all down, and then over here I don't seal it. I just leave it like popped up. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna seal it completely, and then it's gonna be still open here but closed, like pushed together, so that way some air can get in there, right? But no bugs. So a lot of people have a tendency of, or I'm not sure. I don't recommend putting this in the middle of this thing because it won't work. It'll need to be, you know, somewhere around here, wherever you decide. And then the outer hole, for the bulkhead, anywhere around the outside. You can put it almost touching the bottom, high, low, wherever it does. Depends on how you want to use it. My recommendations is 1/2 inch from the bottom to the bottom of the bulkhead, right? And then this just anywhere that you can turn this unit completely, because once you secure it with the bottom nut, you can always raise this, right, from the inside of the bucket, or lower it, right? So I'll tell you in a minute why. So find the spot where you want to put it, right? Maybe somewhere here, because yeah, somewhere here, so you can turn it. Okay, let's get started. So we're gonna drill a hole here. We're gonna drill a hole here, but we already got that done because the video will take too long to make. All right, and then this is what you end up with, right? So you'll end up putting the bulkhead. This is a bulkhead. It's a 2-piece unit. It's a plastic nut. I already showed it to you guys with 2 washers. And the washers, right? You leave one washer inside of here, and this part is the inside. Yes, and then you put the other washer, and then the nut. All right, and then they squeeze them together. You squeeze them together, okay? All right, and what I like to do is I like to put some Teflon tape around here, and I personally like using a 1/2-inch PVC. All right, so I'll explain to you why. So then you end up with something looking like this, right? Once it's tight, hand tight, and you don't have to take the pliers to it. You just want to hand tighten it, hold it from the inside, hand tighten it, not like you know, like that. Just, you know, hand tighten. You don't need a lot, because eventually if water starts leaking, you can tighten it or loosen it, because if you over tighten it, it'll leak. Then you'll put when you make your other hole, you put this in it, and it looks like this, right? So I made mine like this. There's a reason why I put it there. Yes. So this is the one that's gonna be the toilet fitting, and this is what it looks like inside. Toilet fitting, right? And then you can spin this around. See, you can spin it around. But you know, recommendations are anywhere where this nut is not gonna hit this thing when you're turning it on. So you could move it another 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch this way, right? This, you see how low it is? It's almost as low as it can go down there. All right, and this is what you end up with. Okay, now I'm gonna explain to you how I do it. So you already see what it is. You've already seen how easy it is to make, and I'm gonna explain to you what's best. You get one of these, right? This goes right here. This goes to the restroom, right? This fitting. Of course, it'll have the nut, right? The nuts somewhere around. So this screws in here because it's like a restroom hose, right? It's like $5, $4 and some change. And then this piece, you get one of these 1/2-inch connectors for the water, and then you screw it on there. And then I like to chase it about 1 foot down, put a cutoff valve, right? And then I like to not open it 100% of it. So I like to maybe 1/4 open, and then go from there, right? Depending on how much water you're gonna fill and how fast it fills. So eventually you'll end up with something looking like this. Looks like this, see? This will go into a PVC water line in the ground, or wherever your water line's at, but I'll have a cutoff. I'll put this cutoff. Mine's gonna come straight up, like maybe even a 90 in, depending on where I want to put this. Now, I put this high, and it'll sit on a plywood, because I already put the plywood over there, and I'll make a hole big enough for this thing, like a 2-inch hole on the wood, so this thing won't be hitting it just sits straight in there, right? And then out of here goes the PVC pipe, okay, to my watering nipples. All right, so let's put this back down, and I'll explain to you how I like to do things, how I set up my system up, and why I set it up like that. Okay, so when you guys get this in the box, right? I bought the cheapest one I could find, like $10, right? So you see how high it is? You can raise it, okay? So if you screw this, you can raise it as far as you want, as far as you can go. You see, it comes out maybe a good 5 inches, okay? And then you still have some to raise here if you want it, right? So you could lower this or raise this, right? This piece. So what I like to do personally is I like to have this all the way down, right? When I set mine up, I like to have it all the way down. And all the way down doesn't mean that it's gonna restrict water. All the way down for me is means that the way I'm gonna show you. So I put this all the way down, and then this I close it all the way in, all the way in. To screw it all the way in, right? Now, I know the whole point is to have water in the bucket for your animals, right? So right now you just have 2 inches. 2 inches right here. Now when it fills, it'll just fill with 3 inches of water. Okay? So that's all all the water you're gonna have in there. Right? Now, the way I do it is, in my bucket, I like to just go, you see this bucket? It's usually not marked, but this one came marked. I like to keep my water maybe like 1.5 gallons, right? 1.5 gallons in there at all times, maybe 2 gallons. You don't want to fill it up, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you fill this bucket up, the water will just sit there. So what you're trying to do is minimize the amount of water that's in there so they can drink. That's what I'm saying. Is like, okay, if you're filling water bottles or you're filling a can with water and it's lasting you like a day, you should know how much water you're going to use in a day, right? So if you use 5 gallons of water in a day, you want to just do like 1.5 gallons, because they're going to drink. And then what you don't want in here is for the water to sit and be stagnant. So right now, this little thing right here is going to only give us about 3 inches of water, right? In the bucket. But you could always turn this in the bucket. That's what I'm saying is, put it somewhere where you're able to just turn it, right? One full turn is about 3/4 of an inch. So then, you just turn it to get it to like 1.5 gallons, right? Because you want that water to leave the reservoir. You don't want to have 5 gallons of water in there and you're only using 1 gallon a day or 2 gallons a day, right? Because all the water, all the new water is going to stay in the bottom or it'll mix up with the old water, and you don't want that. You don't want that water mixture. You want the water to be low enough so when new water comes in, it mixes and it's still, by the time they're drinking, that water's leaving the tank. So you don't want to overfill it, and don't be worried that you're gonna run out of water. That's why you're gonna do these tests, right? So before you hook it up to your system, to your rabbit watering system, you turn this on, you adjust your water, and then you let the water go. Don't hook this thing up. Don't hook this thing up to the rabbit system yet. You want to put something on it or close it off, and then remove it and let the water drain. Plug it up, and then see how much water you're getting in there, right? It's gonna work like a toilet. You only need 1.5 gallons, right, to flush a toilet. So that's all the water you need to have in it. 2 gallons the most, 1.5 gallons depending on how many rabbits. You want that water mixture. You don't want that stagnant water to sit in there. So that's why I'm saying it's very important where you place this in the tank, because you want to place it, because once you tighten this bottom nut, there's a bottom nut right that comes with this. Here it is. Here's the nut, right? Once you tighten this is a rubber piece. Once you tighten it, you can actually physically, don't just tighten it. Put water in it. It's not gonna leak. Just leave it alone. Once you can turn this with hand tightening this one, you're able to just turn this from the top of the bucket, just like that. See? Okay. Now let's say, okay, that's a gallon, right? Now, if you want 1.5 gallons, you could always adjust this back up, right? So this is not gonna move. All it's doing is adding more water, right? You're adding more water. Doesn't matter if you go all the way up. The way this thing works is it still hasn't filled with water. All you're doing is just moving this. It's when the water gets in there, it's when this activates. Doesn't matter where this float is, right? This is just your additional water that you might need, like a 1/4 gallon or a 1/2 gallon, right? So you can raise it all the way up, raise it all the way down. Like I said, it's very important. Rabbits, I mean, you know, if you leave a water here for 2 or 3 days, are you going to come back and drink it? There you go, right? I mean, you're not going to drink a bottle of water that you opened 3 days ago, are you? That's what you're trying to avoid here. So you have a 5-gallon bucket, but you don't want to hold 5 gallons of water. You only want to hold a certain amount of water. So any water that comes in mixes with that other water, and you're creating that clean water. 5 gallons of water up here, you're just letting a certain amount of water in, just trickling. It's not a lot of water, believe me. The less, the more. It's more for them. The cleaner it gets for them. That's it. Leave your questions. I think the materials was like less than $30. Bulkhead, this, less than $30. I bought the 2 hoses 1 week. I bought the bulkhead another week. I bought these plumbing things. I went to the supply house. I found them for $10, like $8 or $9 a piece, right? Plus that $10. So I went, you know, I didn't just go and spend $60 at one time. I went and I bought these 2 1 week. I wasn't ready, right, to build. I didn't have the buckets. Went and bought these 2 at Home Depot on a trip. These I got for $2. Bulkheads were $5. I had to find them, right? So everything was bought on a week by week basis because I wanted to have everything here. The buckets were actually bought today. That's why we did this today. So they're 2 for $8 at Tractor Supply. Reds or whites, 2 for $8. Well recommended. I'm going to show you why I use this piece right here, this T. Hold on, there's a dog barking. Hey dog, calm down. Calm down. There, sorry about that. Because she sees something over there. So let me bring you over here to the board. Let me see. Okay. I'm making this video too long. Okay, so I'm going to show you why I use this, okay? So, let me see right here. Alright, so I got my bucket up here, right? And then this is sticking out like this, right? So, what I'm going to do is, well, it's going to be right here, but I'm going to just draw a T like this, and then it's going to T like this, right? With a 1/2-inch conduit. And what it's going to do is, I have my cages over here, and I have another set of cages over here, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like that, right? Okay, double stack. And then this T is going to go all the way to here. Well, let me redo that. This T will go all the way this way, and this, and then the other side will go all the way this way. And then right here, I'll drill a hole, and right here, I'll drill a hole, right here, I'll drill a hole, and right here, I'll drill a hole. And then I'll get a barb, right? A barb is like a fitting that, you know, like, this is a PEX fitting, but it's, let me see. It's the one you stick the wire in, and it only goes in one way, like this, look, this one, right? So this right here is like a barb fitting, right? So you can only stick the hose in it. And what I do is, at each one of those corners, I'll drop off a water line, a 3/16 water line, with one of these barbs. So this little barb will be right here, screwed in, and then the water hose will go to the first T of the wherever the nipple's at. So each one of these will get, like this will service these 10 cages, because there's 2 stacks. This one will service these 10. This one will service this. This one will service this. Right? So that's the reason I use this 1/2-inch fitting in there. Because that's a 1/2-inch conduit. Or PVC pipe, right? And then I just drill the 3/8 of the holes and put the barbs in there. And then that's it. Just drop the... Where is it at? The black... Here you go. 3/16. 3/16 inside diameter, 3/16 by 50 feet long, right? So I use 3/16 water nipple for this. This is the one that we use. Right? And then there'll be 5 on the top row, 5 on the bottom row, right? So there'll be 10, right? 10 on each side. So that little 3/16 hose is going to feed all the 10 on this side, and this side, and this side. So again, I've done this before. I know that it works. I think the mistake everybody makes is, I believe the mistake everybody makes. Sorry, let me move this back. I believe the mistake everybody makes is, is that they build one of these and they want to fill it up with 5 gallons of water. That's not what you want for your rabbits. You don't want to give them 5 gallons of water and they're only drinking a gallon, 2 gallons a day. The water is going to get stagnant, right? So it doesn't have time enough to rinse itself out or mix itself with the water that's been in there for like a week already. 5 gallons is too much. Again, I've done this. I've tried it. 1.5 gallons, and I can feed all of these cages. That's 10, 20. I can feed 40 pins with 1.5 gallons of water. And you know that 1.5 gallons, they're going to be drinking that water constantly. This thing is going to be constantly filling, and you have that mixed water. I call it mixed water because you have fresh water coming in, mixing with the water that's just sitting in there. That's what you want. You don't want them to just be drinking the bottom half, and you got 5 gallons of water in there that are not really doing anything, just pushing the weight. It's free flow. It's automatic fill, but free flow water. If there's no pressure behind the system, only here. This is the only pressure that when it enters here, that's the only pressure you have. Going out is free flow, no pressure, gravity flow. That's why it needs to be high at a certain point. Any questions? If you want to see it, I'll make a video later on. We didn't install this today. I only did one just for this thing. I'm kind of keen about gluing PVC on a cold day. That's why I didn't go out there and finish what I was doing. I was working on a tortoise pin, putting a light fixture out there. Now I will have one of these, the rabbit pins, and I will have one of these in the quail pins. Again, try and test it. Don't fill it up to 5 gallons. Thank you for watching. I know it's a long video. Hopefully you make it to the end. Leave your thumbs up. Good night.